Beside the Palm, Season 3, Episode 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beside the Palm. Not even the rain can stop us today. We're very excited to have Lesa Curry with us today, who I'm sure, especially Chancel Choir members, you know, we sort of bow to you on Sunday mornings usually. And
really?
No.
No.
Well, you try to get us to do that, but yeah. So, Lesa, tell me how long you've been at St. Luke's and how you came to be here.
Oh, well, I came in my parents' station wagon. We moved here in 1964. I was very young. And my father moved here for a job, and he was on staff at St. Luke's. He was the church business administrator, and we'd been in Dallas I went through elementary school in Dallas, and then we moved here. I was going into the 7th grade. St. Luke's, of course, became home. We were here anytime the doors were open. And I joined what was then called I don't remember what kind of choir it was called. I don't know we had a name, actually. But it was all girls, of course. There were no boys. And we sang about twice a year. It was very exciting. And so then I started singing in the youth choir, what was known as the youth choir. At that time, it was small. We did start getting some boys in the choir, so we could do 4-part. And so by the time I was in the 10th grade, I was a sophomore, our rehearsals were on Thursday afternoon, and choir rehearsal was on Thursday night. And I have never been afraid of old people, so I decided to go try out the Chancel Choir. And I was 15. They probably thought, what's she doing here? But they were very kind to me, and I joined when I was a sophomore in high school.
Wow.
So I have been, and since I've only been out of college a very few years now.
Sure.
Well, let's just put it this way. I've gotten my 50-year award.
You have.
And I think it's about 52 now, but who's counting? So I've been the Chancel Choir and the choirs at St. Luke's have been my family for years. I'm still the only member of my family that still goes to St. Luke's. Everybody else is scattered. But this is home for me, so yeah. It's been a while.
I had no idea that your dad was on staff at St. Luke's. I didn't realize that's what brought you here. That's neat.
Yeah, he was there. Let's see, we moved in 64, and my mother died in 74. My dad moved to Lubbock then in 76. So he was there for, I don't know. I don't have to do the math, do I?
No.
Okay, good. Anyway, so he was there for quite a while, and then he went on staff at First Methodist in Lubbock, and was there until his death. So, yeah, it's a little bit like being a preacher's kid, a little bit. Because in those days, the church business administrator was the first one they called for everything. Everything.
Right.
If someone got put in jail, that's who they called, I don't mean any.
I was going to say, did that happen, or?
You know anything about the Fifth Amendment?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Well, so you've been involved in a few things around the church. Do you want to give us a kind of brief overview of some highlights?
Well, I was in the Randy Smith Bible study class from the time I graduated from college. And then when Mitzi Scott came to me and said they were starting a women's choir, that was 20 years ago. Wasn't it 20 years? Yeah. And she said, could you come help? And I said, sure. So I was in St. Cecilia. I'm still in the roles at St. Cecilia. I keep trying to go back, but since we're not together now, it's really, really hard. It's really hard. Those are my peeps.
Yeah.
But I've sung in St. Cecilia. I've been in, like I said, the Chancel Choir. I do a few things with the youth choir, Pure Sound. I've been the head counselor for the Pure Sound Labor Day retreat for this. Well, we just finished number 25, so that's how long I've been doing that. Sid Davis saw something when he and I met, and as they say, the rest is history. I've done it for a long time. I love it. That's part of my, people say, well, how many children do you have? I said, oh, I don't know. I've lost count.
Right.
I have several hundred now. And so that's been a real joy for me, is being involved in that and continuing to be involved in that. We had such a great retreat this past Labor Day. I think more than anybody even imagined could happen. And it was great. And I pretty much felt like the goal was to continue the connection that they have together, and then to also continue the tradition. It's really hard when you have to let a year go because of something else, and if we could make it happen, we're going to make it happen. So I'm very proud of that.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little more about that, but just backtracking for a second, if people who don't know you particularly well or aren't in Chancel Choir, you have a very important role in the Chancel Choir, which is why I say we usually bow to you on Sunday mornings. Do you want to just?
Well, this is really funny. I became the alto section leader sometime back in the 80s. I don't remember when it was. Truly, it's a long time ago. And you weren't even born, were you? No, you weren't. Don't even answer that question. I became the section leader, and the only reason I became the section leader is because I was the only one who knew everybody's name. The choir was getting big, and the lady that was doing it before would just kind of point at people and say, you go over there and you go over here. And I thought, well, doesn't she know their names? And so I started helping her because she apparently didn't know their names. Well, that was the first giveaway. So she retired soon thereafter, not because of me, but I think she was ready to retire.
Sure.
And I became alto section leader, and then the choir grew even more. And so Sid decided we needed somebody that kind of was a coordinator for the section leaders. So I became the liner upper. Well, that is an extremely impressive title.
Very, very.
A liner upper. Well, that just got to be, I just thought it was a stupid name, and it looked stupid in writing, when they put it in the choir directory, the liner upper, so I brought to their attention that perhaps we needed a real title for this job, and I gave them two choices. One was the Grand Poobah, and the other was the Tsarina, and we landed on Tsarina. For what reason, I don't know, but we did. And so it looks better in print. It just looks better. It looks like it intended to be that way. Well, anyway, it's just that's been fun, and I still know everybody's name.
Yeah. So. And it is truly an important role. I mean, I sometimes I can't remember which row is supposed to line up where on Sunday mornings, usually, let alone where they're all supposed to be. I mean, that's very overwhelming to me. So I'm so glad that you have the mind for that.
It may be part of the math part of me, and it may be part of the teacher part of me, because that's what my degree is in, is education. So
yeah, and math is not a strong suit for me. So
well, anyway, that's how I got my job, and it just kind of blossomed after that. And then we added a magnet board, which is I miss my magnet board. Well, I miss it. I mean, I miss the people on it, but I miss the magnet board.
Right.
And then we had the app, and when Virginia introduced the app to us, it was like, all new world. And then I realized that I couldn't do the app and line people up. So now I've had to, that's all delegated as well. So it's really, I'm ready to get back to it. I hope I don't forget everything I know.
Yeah. Well, so going back now to Pure Sound, I pointed out that I'm wearing I left my Pure Sound retreat shirt on.
Good for you.
Do you have any favorite memories from the last 25 years that jump out? Too many to name, I'm sure, but are there any?
Oh my gosh.
I'm supposed to ask, is there a story about thin walls is it Harambe Oaks?
I don't know. Should I tell the story? Or Sid?
We'll tell it, and if not, we can edit it out.
Well, this was all new to me, and Sid was just, he was new to the church, but he wasn't new to retreats. And so we went to a place, we had to, he came that summer and we had the first retreat in September. I mean, it was quick. And so he said, the only place I know, let's just book it. I said, fine, that was great. And he was going to take care of all the music part, all that stuff. And I took care of all the planning and the getting of the counselors and the schedule and all the admin stuff. So we went to Harambe Oaks, which, as you know, and it's way the heck from here. It's way far away. And it was raining, as I recall. And if it wasn't, it could have been. It took us 5+ hours to get there. So we didn't roll in until close to midnight on Friday night, which was too far to go, but we were there, so we made the best of it. It was great. The kids were great. Everybody was excited. Part of the deal about being the head counselor was that I didn't stay in a cabin with kids. I stayed in a room. So this particular place had a little lodge that had, I think it had 4 separate rooms, and each room had a little ensuite, bathroom. So I can't remember the name of it. I saw it just the other day. Anyway, so Sid and I were in this little lodge place, which is not too far from where the where the cabins were. And it was real quiet because it was just us there. The kids were all in their cabins with their counselors. And it was late and we were exhausted. We were just exhausted. And I realized that I could hear something moving around next door to me. I mean, it was like, and I kind of listened, and well, it was Sid's room. And the walls were like butcher paper thin. They were very, very thin. You couldn't see through them, but you almost could. So just before we both collapsed on our beds, I leaned over next to the wall and I said, "Good night, Sid." And I whispered, and just right off the bed I hear, "Good night, Lesa." We started laughing so hard, and that has become the joke. And this year I texted him just before I went to bed that first Friday night, and I texted him, "Good night, Sid." And he didn't get it the first day. He got it the second day.
Oh, that's so funny.
It was so funny. We have laughed about that. And then another good one was we were at Camp Tejas near Giddings, the Grange area. And we were there for several years before we went to Camp for All. And Sid and I always walked around to do lights out. We walked from cabin to cabin, and the boys' cabins, he went up and told them good night, and the girls' cabins, I went up and told them good night. And then he and I would go and sit and kind of, rehash the day. Well, we saw a unidentified flying object, otherwise known as a UFO. Now, it's true. Now, you ask him to verify this story. Now he may say I'm crazy, but.
Well, it's funny because he actually told me, ask Lesa about UFOs. So that was further down my list.
We stood there and stared for hours. And that puppy didn't go. It didn't go. It didn't fly anywhere. We watched it forever. And we told people about it. And of course, what they said. Anyway, we really did see it. And to this day, he and I know the truth about this story. So no matter what anybody else said.
I believe you. I'm a total believer. I'm a huge X-Files fan. I would love to see a UFO one day. I believe you guys.
Well, you can see out in the country out there, you can see, and you can tell the difference between a airplane,
Right.
and a meteor, So it was something wasn't either one of those.
Oh, well, I'm jealous. But that's a perfect segue into my next question, though. When was the first time you met Sid? Do you have any initial impressions you remember?
I do.
Uh-oh.
Is this the part you're going to edit? No, I'm kidding. I met Sid at a gathering before he actually was on staff. It was in a home, not a retirement home, a home, living home. And I went to the party just to meet him because I'm really a choir nerd. I know you don't know that, and probably no one else in the choir knows that I am. But I really felt like the choir was at a really, really important turning point in the life of the choir. And so I went because I wanted to meet this person. I knew people who were on the committee. I had followed the selection process, the people who had come and directed us and kind of done a working interview kind of thing. So I knew a lot of them. And I had met him years before when he sang solo in the Seven Last Words, the Dubois Seven Last Words that we traditionally did, BS before Sid. And he sang a solo, and I think he was there more than once. But anyway, I didn't really know him, so I went to this gathering so that I could meet him, and I met him, and I met Cindy, and he and I just started talking, and we were on the same wavelength as far as the choir and the people in the choir and what the choir means and what the choir does. And as we say, one of those people who gets it, you know those people. And so that's what we tried to impart when starting Pure Sound, was getting people who get it involved. And we've continued to do that. But that's where I met him. So it was 25 years ago when he, was first coming on staff, and he hadn't even directed a choir rehearsal yet. But he asked me, "What do you think the choir needs? And what do you think?" And it was, nobody had ever asked me that before. I've already been in the choir 25 years. Nobody ever asked me. So it was a great conversation, and it was I got very excited about our new chapter.
He'll roll his eyes, but I feel like everybody has a story when the first time they met Sid. No one just meets him and was like, "Oh yeah, I think I met him once." There's always a story. So you guys met and jumped into planning Pure Sound retreat.
Absolutely. This gathering was, I think, in May. It seems to me it was in May, or it may have been, but I mean, that was pretty quick turnaround planning.
Right.
And he had a head counselor when he was at Chapel Wood, and that had left kind of a book. Well, it was a manual of some sort. And of course, they were at camp for a week. We were going for 3 days.
Right.
So we really had to rethink the whole thing. And I'm looking back at it now. It's like, how did we get that done so fast? But we were really intentional about making that happen, and that it needed to happen right now and not wait a year.
Well, as much as I think sometimes we think that Pure Sound and your role on Sunday mornings is your full-time day job, it's not. Do you want to tell us what your day job is?
Well, my degree's in education. I have a minor in music literature, and I do neither of those. I got interested after I left teaching. I got interested in accounting. So I went back, got some hours of accounting under my robe, and I started working in an accounting office, and I found that I really enjoyed it. And then I I started noticing after I met Sid and a few of his buddies that they didn't really get the tax thing. They didn't really get the, I mean, they got it, but they didn't, it wasn't their thing. And so I started doing, I left my full-time job, crazy woman that I am, and bought a house. Well, I bought the house, then I quit my job. And then I started working for myself. And so I became a freelance bookkeeper / accountant / tax person, which was almost as good a title as liner upper.
Right.
And so I started working for small businesses, and I've had my own business for 20 years, which I've thoroughly enjoyed because I have this thing about authority.
Right.
I do much better
When you are it.
Yes, I like that. That's much better. It goes much better. Because then I can just chew out my boss and,
Right.
I can do my own evaluations. I love that.
Yeah.
But then I started doing little tax returns on the side just for grins and to help because people are going, I'm not really sure what it is I need to get together. And this has always been a bafflement to me. So by about 10 or more years ago, I was doing the income taxes for a good portion of the music staff. I'm sorry. Because they were like, Sid, what did you do about your taxes? Oh, I gave it to Lesa. So anyway, it's been fun. And I've some of them have already, gone past me and do their own now. I'm so proud. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I do in the springtime. Yeah. Is taxes and a few extensions for those procrastinators in our midst.
I could probably guess who that might be. But that life is not unfamiliar to me because both my parents are CPAs.
Yeah.
And so, April 15th was always like a national holiday around our house.
Well, and my birthday's on the 16th, so it's like I can't even celebrate my birthday till I get this over with. So
right.
But anyway, I've enjoyed that. I'm mostly retired. I still have 2 clients that I visit during the week, but for the most part, I'm happily turning over the time clock to somebody else.
Right. That's great. Well, tell us, we always ask people, what are your 5 favorite things right now?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
That one's fair. I ask everyone. So.
I know. The thing that's been interesting is that I have, during this particular time, this past 6 months, I have pretty simple needs, and the things that I enjoy are pretty simple. I'm quite fond of peanut butter filled pretzels.
Oh, I love them.
Okay. They are like a meal plan all their own.
Whose are your favorite?
Well, I get the great big huge at Costco.
That's what we get.
And then when I quit going to Costco there for a while because of the pandemic, and I would order them from Target, and theirs are very good, and they come in a big container. So yes, those are amongst my favorite things. I've enjoyed the fact that my cat has now become a lap cat. She's decided that she enjoys it, and it may be that she has a lap now to sit in. I don't think I ever sat still long enough for a cat to have a lap. So that's nice. I like really good smelling hand soap. Now, isn't that the strangest thing? Because hand soap I never really knew how much I enjoyed it until I had to start using it as often as I do. And so that's my one little splurge, is I just get nice smelling hand soap for the house. I know what I've really enjoying. I've been enjoying what some people would call continuing education. So right now, I'm in the midst, the reason I haven't been able to attend the Tuesday night live rehearsals is that I'm taking a class on the Constitution. So I've been studying the Constitution 2 hours every Tuesday night in September, and it's been fascinating. and informative. And I like to let my brain stretch just a little bit, not too much because we don't want anything
Right.
to happen. So I've really enjoyed that. I've done some
That's very cool.
couple of classes with the St. Luke's online classes and stuff, and that's been fun. I took a class with Michelle Manuel that I thoroughly enjoyed about unlearning,
Right.
and it was wonderful. What else? I've enjoyed working from home. That's been, in the kind of work that I do, it lends itself very well to working from home. And so I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed not having to fight the traffic and, just kind of course, I was already making my own hours, but making my own hours.
Yeah. Well, that's a great list. I love it. Hand soap and the Constitution.
Is that 5?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yay!
You made it. You made it.
I made it through the 5.
But now the hard part.
Oh my gosh.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
I know. Okay, let me have a little swig here.
There you go. Get your energy up. Have our rapid fire round. Now remember, David Gow still currently holds the record.
What is his record?
I think he got all 20 questions with like a second or two to spare.
As long as the answers don't have to be long, that's fair. But if the answers are long, what do you do?
I try my best. You talk faster. So.
Okay. Well, that's not one of my strong suits, but okay.
And that's unfortunate. My phone just died, so I'll have to use my the old-fashioned way.
Make it up?
No, I use my watch. There just won't be any.
Oh, I thought you meant the question for the questions.
Oh no, the questions are on my iPad. There just won't be any fun ringing at the end. You'll just have to take my word for it that it's been a minute. So.
Okay, 60 seconds. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna wait till we get here to a good spot. So we are ready in 3, 2, 1. Cake or pie?
Cake.
Card game or board game?
Board game.
Favorite shade of blue?
Royal.
Valentine's Day, roses or chocolates?
Chocolate.
Do you like puzzles?
Yes.
Luggage, carry-on or checked?
Checked.
Movie night, at home or in the theater?
At home.
Favorite season?
Fall.
Roses or tulips?
Tulips.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
Start processing on the right or left foot?
Left foot.
What's your Starbucks order?
Tall drip.
Excel or Word?
Excel.
Cookies or brownies?
Cookies.
Model trains or model airplanes?
Trains.
What temperature is your thermostat?
70.
Carpet or hardwood?
Wood.
Cruise or road trip?
Cruise.
Mac or PC?
PC.
Time. I think you got all 20.
Well, once you get a certain age, your decisions are just a lot easier because you know what they are.
This is a big deal. You may have just tied David Gow. Well, you think you did just tie David Gow for
David
Rapid
Gow,
Fire Champion. So
watch your back.
I think now we'll have to have a face-off between the two of you at some point.
Ooh.
I don't know what that'll look like, but that's exciting. All right. Well done.
Oh, thank you. I'm so proud. That was, I think, my most, because I've done it with everybody else that's been on your show. I'm going
practicing.
Well, no, I haven't been. Well, I guess I have been.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really all that competitive. Some people might argue that, but I'm really not. But it was like, oh, I had to think too hard for that. Oh, that would be hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
So good questions, Jim. Thanks.
Yeah. Wow. Or maybe who knows? Maybe this is just slower than my phone. We'll find out when Grace puts the timer on the screen. We'll find out. So because that's accurate, I know. But I think you did it.
Excellent.
So on that happy note, we'll end with our last question, which is, what is one song or piece of music that you would want people to listen to after watching your interview?
That I love music so much, and I love all kinds of music. And people have asked, if you could only listen to one kind of music the rest of your life, what would it be? And I believe that it would be piano. I think piano, because I took piano from the time I was 5. Mm-hmm. And I was reading notes before I was reading words. But I'm also a sucker for the symphony orchestra. I love it a lot. And I used to be completely Mozart, Beethoven girl. That was my groove. But once I heard Brahms Academic Festival Overture, I just fell in love with it. And I can, if it comes on the radio, I won't get out of my car until it's over.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You could have asked Taylor Davis, what's Lisa's favorite song? And he would have known, because it's been my favorite song for a long time. And when he was in Pure Sound, he had his senior year, he had his cabin playing that song when the inspectors came in to check the cabins. And I knew he'd been paying attention.
Wow.
So it's good, and it's enjoyable. It's got a little bit of everything, and it's one of my favorite pieces.
It is a good one. Well, Lesa, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I hope I wasn't too mean or asked you anything too difficult. So
no, well, you were pretty much your normal self.
Yeah.
We can leave that at that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we will. So, well, I hope we are back soon, and you're back, being your liner-upper on Sunday mornings. So
I do too. I do too. I miss everybody, and I miss hugs, and I miss just fist bumps just don't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it, but I think we've done a good job of staying in touch. So, and thank you for all y'all do too to add to that. These little things. I mean, I hope everybody got a little bit of a laugh today, but
I hope so.
Yeah, it's fun, and I appreciate. Thank you so much for including me. I felt like all the superstars had gone, so I thank you very much for thinking of me.
Of course, it was fun. Well, you take care, and we will talk later.
Okay. Have a good evening.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.